All right, last two examples. So example number 3 says factor x to the 4th power minus 14x cubed minus 87x squared plus 1080x by graphing. So essentially we need to graph this guy. So let's grab our graphing calculators. I will give you a second to dig yours out. So please do so. Alrighty, and we know how to graph anything on our calculator. We need to get to the y equals screen. So we click that. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Hang on a second. Let's try that again. There we go. That looks better. Okay, and then plug in our equation. So x to the 4th power minus 14 x to the 3rd power minus 87 x squared plus 1080x. Now, essentially, we should expect 4 solutions here because it's the 4th degree polynomial. So let's take a look and see what we get here when we graph. Okay, so again, this is not a good picture because guess what? We have only 2 lines, and we were thinking we're going to have 4. First of all. Second of all, I don't see any curves. This is not good. So let's go ahead and zoom out. Let's see if zoom fit gives us a good picture. So see if it'll just fit it to the equation. Let's see what happens when we use this. Not bad. So well, I'm kind of curious as to what happens over here. So let's zoom out also. So after we zoom fit, let's zoom out. Remember, we have to hit enter to actually do this. That's actually a better picture. So let's use this because now I've got the whole thing. It's not going to come back down for these two guys. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 where it crosses the x-axis. Remember I was talking the other day, well, where do I actually find my solutions to these guys? Well, it's any time it crosses the x-axis because that is where y equals 0. So any time it crosses the x-axis is where your solutions are going to be. So what we can do here is we actually can use our calc menu. So second calc, and we want to find the 0. So we select number 2, and then we have to find the left boundary and the right boundary. So I'm going to go to this very last 0. I need to be to the left of it. It's very slightly left of this guy. So I'm going to hit enter. And it wants the right boundary, so I need to be to the right of the 0. So I'm going to hit enter again. And guess, enter one more time. And we have, now this should say 0 because y is supposed to equal 0. But this is a negative 1.5 e to the negative 9th power, which if we move the decimal over 9 places to the left, it'd be pretty darn close to 0. So we can take that as a 0. So what does that mean? That means x equals negative 9. So let's just list out our zeros. So negative 9. And so then let's find the next one. It looks like it's going through 0, but let's just double check. So go back to your calc menu. We want to use a 0, and we'll go to the left of it. So you have to isolate those zeros. So don't just go all the way to the left over here and all the way to the right over here. We want this one, so I'm now to the left of it. Go just to the right of it. Okay. And hit enter. And then yes, we need to guess. And it was 0. So then we list 0 as our next solution. Now we need to find this guy right here. So calc menu again. I certainly hope you're doing this along with me. And we want 0, so select 2. Now be careful, because you might be thinking, hey, I'm to the left of the 0 here, so I'm going to hit enter. Well, we want this 0, so if I go all the way to the right of it, I'm going to hit enter again. Now notice, I was over here and I'm now over here. We've actually included 2 of the zeros. If you look at these 2 little arrows, that's where it's saying it's selected its boundary. So that's going to be to the left of this 0 and to the right of this 0. So let's see what happens. Oh, it actually did find me one. Sometimes you'll get an error message there. It'll say, hey, guess what? You've got 2. Or, you know, it'll say no sign change or something like that. So make sure that you actually just include one of the zeros. Sometimes it'll work, but you never know. If that's your issue, make sure you do it again. So our next 0 looks like it's going to be 8. Okay, and then we've got one more to find. So calc menu again. 0 is number 2. And this is our last guy right here. So we need to be to the left of it. So enter, and then to the right of it. So I'm going to keep going. Enter again. And it's 15. So that is our last solution to this polynomial. So we had 4 solutions. We expected 4 solutions. And, you know, I never taught you how to factor ones like this. But if we were to factor it, we would get these 4 solutions. So there is a way to factor those, but I'm not going to teach you them just because hey, guess what? Plugging it into our calculator was a lot easier to actually just get the get the picture and find our 4 solutions. So that is always an option available to you. Great. Example 4 says find the general form of an equation for a polynomial function with zeros at -4, 7/2, and 5/3. So essentially this goes back to your factor theorem and actually giving you the solutions and asking you to find the polynomial. So what we can do here is we can build factors out of each of these. Now 4 is easy because we know that x plus 4 will give us a solution of 4, because if I set x plus 4 equal to 0, I would subtract 4, and x would be -4. So that one's easy. There's one factor. Now this right here, 7/2, if x equals 7/2, we kind of have to work backwards to get this to be 0. So don't just subtract 7/2. Let's break the 7 and the 2 apart. So let's multiply each side by 2. So then on this side we have 2x equals 7. And then to get the 7 over here, we'd subtract the 7. So we have 2x minus 7 equals 0. And the reason why I didn't keep the 7/2 together is because it's not very proper to have fractions in your factors. So that's why I wanted to break it up. So our second factor here is 2x minus 7. And notice I just took the top number is second and the bottom number is with the x. And that's actually going to give us the factor that we have here. And then, of course, your sign is always opposite of what you had. Since we had a positive here, that should be a negative here. So let's actually skip this step and do that same thing with 5 and 3. So the bottom number goes with x, so 3 goes with x, so 3x. And then we need a negative because this is positive. And then the top number goes right here, equals 5, or minus 5. So let's just test this one. So we have 3x minus 5. Let's see if we get 5/3 equals 0. So plus 5 plus 5. 3x equals 5, and then we divide each side by 3. So we're actually working forwards now, so that is nice. So yeah, it is 5/3, so that did check out. So that's how you build your zeros, or your factors. And it says find the general formative equation with the polynomial function with zeros at -4, 7/2, and 5/3. So we could FOIL all this out, but I'd rather you leave it like this so that you can see the actual zeros that you were given and go from there. Okay, so these ones are easy. When they're whole numbers, you just change your sign. When they're fractions, you want your top number last and your bottom number first. So you can look at this and say, oh, my solution would be 7/2. And then here, your solution would be 5/3. So it's kind of like working backwards. I would like you to try one of these, so do me a favor. Find the polynomial with solutions. Let's say x equals 2, and then let's say negative 2/3, and then positive 5/4. So do me a favor, write me a polynomial with these 3 solutions, and that is what I'll be checking tomorrow in class. Have a nice evening.